City of Tempe received a grant in 1998 to fund a permanent household hazardous waste facility. We were the first one here in the Valley to have a permanent facility. We won several awards, both state and national, being the first here in the Valley, in the metro area, to take in household hazardous waste on a weekly basis. Today we're having a multi-purpose recycling event here today, which includes taking plastic bags from Back Central Station, canned food drive, also shredding from Assured Security, and collection of our e-waste through West Tech Recyclers. Of course, we're doing our usual household hazardous waste collection, which encompasses taking both paint, oil, antifreeze, any type of cleaning supplies, stuff that you'd have under the sink in your shed.
People can bring in recycling, e-waste, also hazardous household waste. And today my job is to, when people come in with hazardous waste, to take it out of their car, and then we sort it and dispose of it in a proper way. And then the next car comes through, do the same thing.
Once we get the products that they bring in, if it's an unknown product, we'll test the pH, we'll test if it's corrosive, if it's acidic, if it's basic. Then we sort it in our barrels over here that they go in their own separate containers. We decide whether it's a flammable, an aerosol, latex paint, water-based paint, just whatever it is. We just sort through it. We make sure that it goes into the right containers. It's better to bring your hazardous material here and get it dropped off rather than keeping it at your house where you have little kids that might get into it. It's going to harm them. You have animals or pets. They're curious. They're just like little kids. They're going to get into stuff and they're going to end up getting hurt or getting really sick. So rather bring your waste products here than leave them sit at your house or throw them in the trash where it's going to contaminate the groundwater.
Some of the chemicals just get disposed of, they can't be reused. The latex paint, it goes to a factory in California where it basically gets cleaned and filtered, and then they resell it. Because a lot of this stuff you shouldn't throw away in your trash. It's not safe for the environment, so bringing it here, we can get rid of it the right way instead of just throwing it in the trash can. This is where anyone in the city can come in and basically shop. We just get rid of anything you want. Anything that's good that we get in, we put out on the shelves for anyone in the city to come take and use.
$1.2 million vehicles drive in Greater Vancouver every day. They all have engines that require oil changes. Since oil dumping is illegal, Vanessa, what do you think happens to all that oil?
I'm not sure, but I do know of a product stewardship program that began in BC in 2003, and there is a charge on our oil when we purchase it. I think it's about 5 cents a liter.
You're totally right. And this is actually where at the Vancouver landfill you'd bring your used oil. Now, I'm going to take a look behind the scenes and find out what happens to every last drip. The collection crews are out bright and early to make their used oil collection rounds from a variety of locations.
M&R Environmental is a hazardous waste service provider to commercial generators such as automotive dealerships, fast food locations, any kind of mechanical repair operations that generate petroleum waste.
Trucks like these also collect oil from recycling depots that some municipalities operate. If you change your own oil, this is where you can bring it.
We have here a 100,000-liter tank farm where we store and process oil. So what that involves is offloading it from our trucks, filtering it to take out all the suspended solids, separating out any free water that might have come back through condensation in the storage tanks.
The used oil is then pumped out again into tankers, ready for its next life. What is that? Some oil recyclers re-refine the oil into new lubricant oil. At M&R, it is sold to industries like pulp mills, mines, cement plants, and asphalt plants.
It's consumed as a fuel. Just like you burn gasoline in your car, typically waste oil ends up being less costly for them than a virgin fuel. And that's one of the cost benefits for them to use it.
This isn't new, however. For decades, oil recycling businesses in Greater Vancouver have thrived due to competition and proximity to markets. But in other parts of the province where there was still plenty of waste oil being generated, the lack of competition and increased transportation costs made used oil collection a costlier endeavor. Consequently, oil dumping became more likely.
1 liter of oil can contaminate 1 million liters of drinking water, and it doesn't take much to contaminate our water supplies or affect our fish spawning creeks and rivers.
That's why in 2003, the province began a program to help decrease the costs of collection and to help manage the used oil recycling system.
We have over 550 return collection facilities across British Columbia and about 145 in the Greater Vancouver Regional District, like this one here in Burnaby, where people can return their used oil materials.
What about the drips left in oil containers and oil filters? The cost of collecting these is covered in the provincial program as well.
We provide the customers with 205-liter steel drums where they toss all the oil filters into the drums. Our trucks come around and pick those up, bring them back to our facility. From there, we offload them off the trucks and we run them through a filter crusher process, which involves sorting out any garbage that ultimately ended up in these barrels, and then tipping that sort table into the machine, which then crushes the filters under high pressure. We're able to recover the steel, and we'll recover on average about 45 liters of used oil from every 250 filters we collect.
About 80% of the filters sold are collected and made into new products, and the oil containers were now up to 57% from 12% a couple years ago.
An oil jug or an antifreeze jug or a windshield washer jug, we can recycle all those products. We grind it, and then we run it through a centrifuge process where we spin out any of the free liquid. And typically you can have anywhere from 12 to 20% oil by weight still remaining in that bottle that we're able to recover. It's not a bit of oil. I mean, in our process, for example, we'll probably recover the equivalent of 40,000 liters a year.
Those plastic flakes are then also recycled. They're sent to another Lower Mainland business, Merlin Plastics. But back at the automotive end of our cycle, antifreeze is another toxic automotive product that can be recycled.
Well, we heat the antifreeze to anywhere from 250 to 270 degrees Fahrenheit, and through that process we actually distill off the ethylene glycol, which is perfectly reusable.
Our key is to get as much back as is out there that doesn't have a use, a legitimate use.
You know, I think that cars are a reality of our world today, and they aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And so services like this are required because we all have to continue to manage this product in a way that's environmentally sustainable as best as we can.
It's a quiet, sunny morning in Kearney Mesa, the perfect day for an inspection.
Hello, I'm Sonia Ingmanson. I work for Department of Environmental Health, Hazardous Materials Division. We're going to conduct a hazardous materials and waste inspection of a facility.
She's been an inspector for almost 5 years now.
We conduct all of our inspections unannounced. We get the best picture of their daily activities. They don't have extra warning time to prepare, so it's just a good way of measuring their daily operations.
The Hazardous Materials Division inspects facilities with above-ground storage tanks that have more than 1,320 gallons of petroleum products. Sonia begins by looking at the primary and secondary containment systems.
Having this wall here is very important as part of the system's secondary containment system. So if there was ever a breach in the above ground storage tank and there was a leak, then it would stay contained right in this area here, and there'd be no threat of a release to the environment or to public health.
Any business that has or generates hazardous waste must have a hazardous materials permit.
That could be anywhere from an automobile repair shop, auto body, schools are required to have it, biotechs, hospitals, it's all across the board.
The goal is to keep the environment and the public safe.
We don't shut down businesses. If they have an underground storage tank, we can red tag the system and prevent them from operating, but we can't right off the bat shut down a business.
If a business is being non-compliant, the county can offer suggestions to get them back on track.
We will provide them with information or training, anything that we can to educate them on how to correct their activities and prevent them in the future.
This facility made Sonia's job easy today.
They had all of their containers properly labeled, everything was tightly closed to prevent accidental spills, their paperwork was all in order. They did a very good job.
And Sonia finds the job very rewarding.
It's different every day. It's great to meet people. I always say I feel like I'm in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood in an episode, going around and meeting all the neighbors and finding out what they do. But it really is a lot of fun, and you learn so much every day. You learn about new chemicals and doing something good for the environment.
In the County News Center, I'm Jose Villanueva.